into her airway. Trachea then will be the next part moving down. Extends anterior, it's in front of your esophagus, into the thoracic cavity. A lot of medical shows you might see where they actually cut into the trachea if someone's not breathing. Your trachea is in front of your esophagus. And not that I would ever want to do something like that, but if someone is completely choking and there's no major arteries right in front of your trachea, I would never want to do it, but I would not be scared to take a knife and cut open somebody's trachea if I thought they were going to die. Because it's anterior, it's on the front, and you see that happen on medical shows a lot. Maybe they've taken a pen or something and poked into the trachea so air can come out. That actually does happen sometimes. Inner wall of the trachea lined with mucus, goblet cells. These goblet cells are going to produce mucus, and then that mucus traps the particles. Tracheal wall has these cartilage rings that I was talking about. There are 20 of them, so it makes your trachea very sturdy, where your esophagus was rubbery and can move and stretch very easily. The trachea is more of a structure that does not expand nearly as much as your esophagus did. So here is my trachea as it runs down. It's going to go off into my right bronchi and my left bronchi, those are going to branch off into smaller pieces, and then eventually it'll branch out into little alveoli where the gas exchange actually takes place. Bronchial tree, I'll go through this and then we'll stop for today. The bronchial tree then is that part. So as I come off the right and left main bronchi, it's going to branch into tubes almost like a tree, so that's why it's called the bronchial tree. Begins with the two main bronchi leading to each lung, so the right goes to the right lung, the left goes to the left lung. After the primary, the secondary bronchi are lobar bronchi. They go into each lobe of the lungs. And then they're going to branch into tertiary, which are even smaller. So primary, branch into secondary, branch into tertiary. So those are the order that they go in. And then we can divide into even smaller bronchioles. So terminal means end, terminal bronchioles, respiratory bronchioles. Eventually, you're going to end up in these alveoli, which is where the gas is actually exchanged into the bloodstream. So in your alveoli, very thin layer of epithelial cells, therefore it's easy for that oxygen and carbon dioxide to transfer from the alveoli to the blood and go back and forth. So here again, it's breaking out. You can look at, here's the tertiary are going to be these smaller ones. As I branch to the smallest part, alveoli are like these little tiny circles. They are very thin, one layer, so each one of these is where gas is exchanged. An alveolar duct is basically the tube that leads to a cluster of alveoli. So very much like an upside down tree. This would be the trunk leading to the branches, and you could even consider your alveoli almost like the leaves or the end spot of those branches. The alveoli is the ending point. Here you can just look a little bit closer. The only thing I want to point out here is notice all of the blood vessels that surround the alveoli. These are all tiny little capillaries that are there to pick up oxygen and get rid of carbon dioxide. And that's where we'll stop for today.